eh? He's not back yet. We could do with fresh meat. Foreman dug into a sack and offered his raven a handful of corn. Do you think I'm wrong? Keep the Rangers close? Not for me to say, my lord. It is, your house. If the Rangers must stay in sight of the pit, I don't see how they can hope to find my uncle. They can't. The Raven picked up the colonels in the old bear's path. 200 men, or 10,000. The country's too vast. The corn gone, Foreman turned his hand over. You will not give up the search? Mr. Avon thinks you clever. Foreman pulled the Raven to his shoulder. The bird tilted its head to one side, little eyes a glitter. The answer was there. Is it? It seemed to me that it might be easier for one man to find 200 than 200 to find one. The Raven gave a cackling scream, and the old bear smiled through the grave of his beard. This many men and horses leave a trail even Aemon could follow. On this hill our fires won't be beautiful, as far off as the foothills of the Frostbang. If Ben Stark is alive and free, he'll come to us. I have no doubt. Yes, said John. What if he's dead? Norman asked, not unkindly. John nodded. Dead, the Raven said. Dead, dead. He may come to us anyway, the old bear said, as Arthur did, and Jaffa flowers. I dread that as much as you talk. We must admit the possibility. Dead, the Raven called, fluffing its wings. Its voice grew louder and more shrill. Dead. Norman stroked the bird's black feather and stifled a sudden yawn with the back of his hand. I will forsake supper, I believe. This will serve me better. Wake me at first light. Sleep well, my lord. John gathered up the empty cups and stepped outside. He heard distant laughter, the plaintive sound of pipes. A great blaze was crackling in the center of the tent, and he could smell stew cooking. The old bear might not be hungry, but John was. He drifted over toward the fire. Tywin was holding forth, spoon in hand. I know this food as well as any man alive, and I'll tell you, I wouldn't take the right to it alone tonight. Who's smelling? Ren was staring at him with wide eyes. But Dolores Ed said, all I smell is the shit of 200 horses, eh? And this stew, which has a similar aroma away from the city. I've got your similar aroma right here. Hank patted his dirt. Grumbling, he filled John's bowl from the kettle. The stew was thick with barley, carrot, and onion, with here and there a ragged shred of salt beef, softened in the cooking. What is it you smell, David? Asked Ren. The forester sucked on his spoon for a moment. He had taken out his teeth. His face was leathery and wrinkled, his hands gnarled as old. Seems to me that it smells, well... Oh, your head says wooden as your teeth, Hank told him. There's no smell to cold. There is, old John, remembering the night in the Lord Commander's chambers. It smelled like death. Suddenly, he was not hungry anymore. He gave his stew to Gren. He was in need of an extra supper to warm him against the night. The wind was blowing briskly when he left. By morning, frost would cover the ground, and the tent rope would be stiff with frost. A few fingers of spiced wine sloshed in the bottom of the kettle. John fed fresh wood to the fire and put the kettle over the flames to reheat. He flexed his fingers as he waited, squeezing and spreading until the hand tingled. The first watch had taken up their stations around the perimeter of the camp. Torches flickered all along the ring wall. The night was moonless. The stars and stars shone overhead. A sound rose out of the darkness, faint and distant, but unmistakable, the howling of wolves. Their voices rose and fell, a chilly song, and rose. It made the hairs rise along the back of his neck. Across the fire, a pair of red eyes regarded him from the shadow. The light of the flames made them glow. Ghost! John breathed, surprised. So, you came inside our door, eh? The white horse often hunted all night, yet not expected to see him again till daybreak. Was the hunting so bad? Yeah, really, that's it. The dire wolf circled the fire, sniffing drum, sniffing the wind, never still. It did not seem as if he were out to move right now. The day came warm. Ghost knew. Alarmed, he got to his feet. Is something out there? Ghost, you have a scent? Tywin said he smelled cold. The dire wolf loped off, stopped, looked back. He wants me to follow. Pulling off the hood of his coat, John walked away from the tents, away from the warmth of his fire, past the lines of shaggy little Gary. One of the horses whickered nervously, then Ghost padded by. John soothed him with a word, and paused to stroke his muzzle. He could hear the wind whistling through cracks in the rocks as they neared the ringles. A voice called out a challenge. John stepped into the torchlight. I need to fetch water for the Lord Commander. Orderly, the guard said. Be quick about it. Huddled beneath his black cloak, with his hood drawn up against the wind, the man never even looked to see if he had a bucket. John slipped sideways between two sharpened stakes, while the ghost slid beneath them. A torch had been thrust down into a crevice, its flames flying pale orange banners when the gusts came. He snatched it up as he squeezed through the gap between the stones. Ghost went racing down the hill. John followed more slowly, the torch thrust out before him as he made his descent. The camp sounds faded behind him. The night was black, the slope steep, stony and uneven. A moment's inattention would be a sure way to break an ankle or his neck. What am I doing? He asked himself, dipping his way down. The trees stood beneath him, warriors armored in bark and leaf, deployed in their silent ranks, awaiting the command to storm the hill. They seemed. It was only when his torchlight brushed against them that John glimpsed the flash of green. Faintly, he heard the sound of water flowing over rocks. Ghost vanished in the underbrush. John struggled after him, listening to the call of the brook, to the leaves sighing in the wind. Branches touched at his cloak, while overhead, thick limbs twined together and shut out the stars. He found Ghost lapping from the stream. Ghost, he called, to me. Now. Then the direwolf raised his head. His eyes glowed red and baleful, and water streamed down from his jaws like slava. Something fierce and terrible about him in that instant. And then he was off, bounding past John, racing through the trees. Ghost, no, stay! He shouted, but the wolf paid no heed. The lean white shape was swallowed by the dark, and John had only two choices: to climb the hill again, alone, or to follow. He followed, angry, holding the torch out low so he could see the rocks that threatened to trick him with every step, the thick roots that seemed to grab at his feet, the holes where a man could twist an ankle. Every 2 feet, he called again for Ghost, but the night wind was swirling amongst the trees, and it drank the word. This was madness, he thought, as he plunged deeper into the trees. He was about to turn back, when he glimpsed a flash of white up ahead and to the right, back toward the hill. He jogged darkly, cursing under his breath. All the way around the fist, he chased the wolf before he lost him again. Finally, he stopped to catch his breath amidst the scrub, thorns, and tumbled rocks at the base of the hill. Beyond the torchlight, the dark pressed close. A soft, scrambling noise made him turn. John moved towards the side, taking carefully, and noiseless, and turning forward tree. Came on Ghost again. The guy was digging furiously, keeping up dirt. What did he found? John heard the torch moving a rounded mound with slight burn. Knelt, jammed the torch at the ground beside him. The soil was loose, sadly. John pulled it out by the pistol. There were no stones, no roots. Whatever was there had been put there recently. 2 feet down, his fingers touched rock. He had been stepped to the forest, peering at them. This was something else. He pushed against the pebble and he felt small, remarked shapes underneath. There was no smell, no sign of grave worms. Ghost and sat on his haunches watching. John brushed the loose soil away to reveal a rounded bundle, perhaps 2 feet long. He jammed his fingers down around the edges and worked it loose. When he pulled it free, whatever was inside shifted and clinked. Hey, shut, he thought. The shapes were round and pointed, and the sound was wrong for them. A length of frayed rope bound the bundle together. John unsheathed his dagger and cut it, groped for the edges of the cloth and pulled. The bundle turned, and its contents spilled out onto the ground, glittering dark and bright. He saw a dozen knives, leaf-shaped spearheads, numerous arrowheads. John picked up a dagger blade, feather-like and shiny black, hiltless. Torchlight ran along its edge, a thin orange line that spoke of razor sharpness. Heavens, the restless form, obsidian. Had Ghost uncovered some ancient cache of the children of the forest, buried here for thousands of years? The list of the first man was an old place, only beneath the dragon glass was an old war horn.
I feel like just having you fight by my side gives me the power I need.
From inside it, and a stream of arrowheads fell out.